Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Are you a Christian or a Bible believer?
Yes.
Awesome. And how long have you been so?
Pretty much all my life. I grew up Catholic, kind of straight away from it when I was younger, about in my teens, and then now I go to a Baptist church, but I'm looking for other churches.
Okay, so you were Catholic, or you were raised
I was
Catholic, but now
raised,
you're
yeah, I was
more of
raised
a
Catholic,
Protestant.
but I honestly didn't really. I think Catholic uh, is the most consistent of the bunch. So if I were to choose, I think when I grow older, that's what I will do. But right now, uh, I'm a little younger, so I'm 23, but I'm a little younger, so I don't have too many options right now for a Catholic church. So where I live,
Okay, I get you. I get you. I understand. Sometimes the church resources
yeah,
are a little scarce if you're looking for a certain
yep.
kind. So what on the background would you like to talk about? You are muted, by the way. I can't hear you if you're talking.
I'm so sorry. Give me one second.
For sure. Well, everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you for the tests. I
Sorry about
greatly
that.
appreciate it. Yeah, no, you're
So
good. You're good.
um, you said which one do I want to address? Is what you said.
Yeah. What on the background
Well,
piques your interest to
I
talk
think
about?
you were. I heard you kind of talking about all of them. I mean, we can go one by one, but I think um, the one that I'd probably be most educated on the topic would be being pro-choice and a Christian. Um, I don't think those two can coincide. I don't think those two can go together.
Sure. So let me give you my case for
Yeah.
this. So the reason why I think that one can't be, or that one can be a Christian, and I think it's strange if they're not pro-choice, is simply given the fact that this is supposed to be, at least the majority of Christians see this time that we're living in as a period of grace. So, in the Bible, to be consistent with God's nature, God's laws, and majority of Christian belief now, majority of Christians believe that God has gifted mankind free will. And going by that, if that is the case, and this is supposed to be that area of grace, I think that it is a lot more consistent with everything that you read in the New Testament to say that you should do your best to offer other resources and warn against it, but you should not do anything that actually prevents that action, because that is something that they are going to have to answer to God about, and the life that is lost, the fetus, it typically with the majority belief goes to heaven. So really it's a tragedy, but the fetus goes to heaven and you can still be there for the woman's salvation. And so I think that that would be more consistent with what the Bible is teaching than to socially condemn them, or call them murderers, or
So you think it?
threaten them
You
and all
think
these
you
things that happen.
and
Hold on, hold
oh,
on.
sorry,
Hold on. Let me finish my argument,
sorry.
because I've been yelled at before for not saying the whole thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's typically because people want to address it point by point. But let me just say the whole thing first, and then we can go point by point. And so then the second point is that we see in the Bible that just because there are children or unborn, that God does not necessarily value the life of them just because they are children. We see Him unalive children Himself, command the unalivement of children at all ages, including allowing it in war for women who are pregnant. There are passages that talk about ripping out unborn children and stuff. So we see that just because it is a life of a child, that doesn't necessarily mean that that has some kind of God-given protection that you must take care of it. It really depends on subjectivity. And then the last thing is the Numbers 5 passage. The Numbers 5 passage does hold a ritual that I would say shows an abortion, because understanding the way biology works is that if a woman was taken to the priest and accused of sleeping with somebody else, whether or not that was true, if she was indeed pregnant at the time and had to partake in this ritual of drinking the bitter waters, that means that if this ritual quote unquote, found her guilty, and the punishment from that was that she would basically become barren. And we understand by biology that if she had already conceived and there was already a sperm and an egg that met, there's already conception and a life that has started, which means that that fetus would miscarry. And so it seems that at the very least, abortion was definitely allowed if it came to the suspicion of adultery. So with these 3 points, I think that we can say that it really depends on the situation, and you can't actually judge for someone else if they can do an abortion. You can just say, hey, let's look at every other resource possible first. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to answer to God, and I'll be here for you for your salvation, regardless of your decision.
Okay, so it seems like you're saying that it is wrong and immoral, but you should answer to God for it. And I disagree with that because I think that grape and murder is wrong, but I don't think that you should just answer to God for it. I think you should answer to the eye of the law about it. Anyway, it seemed like, again, you thought it was wrong, and you also made the claim that it's mentioned in the Bible, that the Bible supports it. And I would argue that, quote me if I'm wrong, I think it's Jeremiah 1:5 says, I knew you in the womb before I formed you in the womb. So it's understanding that it understands that there is life before being born. So I would say that you saying that the Bible supports or God would support being pro-choice is that is very inaccurate. Again, the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not murder, and that's exactly what abortion is. You are taking the deliberate and innocent killing of an innocent, taking of an innocent human life.
Okay, so then that leads me to, I think a nice segue into the second point is that we see God not valuing children life all throughout the Bible. When God says, thou shalt not kill, and then says, this is the time when you kill your kids, this is how you kill your kids, this is when you kill those people's kids, and then this is when I'm going to kill this person's kid, how are we supposed to say that that is consistent?
You're talking about
that
the war, right? You're talking about where he sent to kill innocent children who were sacrificed, who were getting sacrificed. You're talking about that, correct? Or what are you exactly referring to? Just so I know exactly what.
Yeah, sometimes it's war, sometimes it's not. Like the punishment for David was not a war. It was just God simply killing his kid.
Okay. Okay, continue. I'm
His
sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to know exactly what you were referring to. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about all the cases. All the
Okay.
cases where God said kill those kids. Even in Deuteronomy 13, when he's talking about how if even if if you have a rebellious son, you should off that child.
What is the verse?
And then in biblical scholar, was that correct? I might be confusing it with the one where it talks about.
I'm sorry, because I just actually want to get educated on it. I'm not trying to call you out on it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually.
No. There's just, like I said, there's just so many.
Yeah. I'd like to know an example.
I might be confusing it with the one that says unalive even your family if they want to worship other gods.
Yeah, because I think a lot of these can be misinterpretations of it, but I will say, like I said, I could be wrong as well. So that's why I said, if I could get that verse, and I will definitely do some more research on that. I still don't think it goes against with what I'm saying. Again, I mean, how can you go against thou shalt not murder? You're basically, you would have to convince me that abortion isn't murder. Because even if all the things you're saying is true, that God supported all types of murder, it also says that thou shalt not murder. So where do we...
Do you not agree that killing children, especially infants, is murder?
I do. I do think it's murder, yes. Whether you're
when God kills infants and orders people to kill kids,
but it was justified.
That's consistent
But it
with
was
his
justified.
law? So you don't take the opinion. You're changing your position now. You're saying that it is wrong. You're saying that it is murder to off children, and then you're saying it's justified when God told people to do it or did it himself, which means you're saying it's subjective. It really depends on the situation.
I wouldn't say it depends on the situation, no.
Okay, then you agree that it was wrong when God did it too.
God can't be wrong.
Okay, so you're being a little flip-floppy here. So which is it? Is it, do you think it's wrong, no matter what, to kill kids and babies? Do you think that's murder?
Yes.
Okay. Why are you suddenly giving an exception to God?
I mean, it's because it's God. I mean,
So what?
and it was justified.
Why?
I mean, they were already sacrificing their children, and he condemned them to stop. And if they didn't stop, then they would pay for the repercussions of it, and they did.
And I understand why that would justify going after the adults doing the bad things. How does that justify killing the kids?
Again, it was justified.
Explain it.
And abortion and getting an abortion in the sense of what you're doing in 98% of terms, it is consensual sex, and you are the deliberate taking of an innocent human life. So even if God did condemn people to take innocent human life, that doesn't mean that He supports that. That's not what that's not what that means.
Yes, if God is telling you to do it and does it Himself, He supports the action of taking innocent life.
Okay, well, all right. Well, in the Bible, there's adultery, prostitution.
If you do things,
do you think He's pro prostitution?
If I did a whole bunch of drugs and I told people to go do drugs, am I a promoter of drugs?
Okay, that's not what it is, though. I mean, was he?
No. Just answer that question.
I mean,
if I
obviously,
do drugs and I tell people to do drugs, am I promoting
obviously.
drugs? So when God says, "I'm gonna kill babies and I want you to go kill those people's kids,"
He didn't say I'm gonna go kill
promoting...
babies. So you're misinterpreting it. Then He never said I'm gonna go kill babies.
I can show you where he kills a baby.
Okay, well, I want to get the last verse because you were supposed to show
yes,
me the last verse.
I have it for you.
And I would like to know where he said, "I'm going to kill babies, and you need to as well," because that's a misinterpretation of it.
So in Deuteronomy 21, starting in 18, it says, "If someone has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey his father and mother, who does not heed them when they discipline him, then his father and mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to the elders of this town, to the gate of that place. And they shall say to the elders of the town, This son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey us. He is a glutton, a drunkard, and all the men of the town shall stone him to death. You shall purge the evil from your midst, and all Israel will hear and obey." So, mind you, this is a child that is still young enough that they are under the care of their parents, that the parents are disciplining him. So, while this may be an older child, this child is still being... Oh, okay. This child is still young enough to where they are disciplining him, and the verse is saying to unalive him.